Okay.
Are we on?
We're on.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, kids. What time is it?
Time for Gezintahait Street.
I don't see the microphone.
No, it doesn't have it here. No, we also didn't have it the last time. The Bitzalel, it's when the guitar has it, it works better with the microphone.
All right.
When no guitar, it works better like this.
All right.
Ready? Da 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 dee dum, da 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 dee dum, I lie lie dee dee, I lie lie. Da 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 dee dum, da 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 dee dum, I lie lie dee dee dum. Da 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 dee dum, da 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 dee dum, I lie lie dee dee, I lie lie. Da 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 dee dum, da 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 dee dum, I lie lie dee dee dum. Dee I la la da dee dee da dee dee da dum, I lie lie dee dee, my I. Da 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 dee dee da dee dee da dum, I lie lie dee dee da. Dee I la da da dee dee da dee da dum, I lie lie dee dee, my I. Da 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 dee dee da dee da dum, I lie lie dee dee da. Da 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 dee dum, da 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 dee dum, I lie lie dee dee, I lie lie. Da 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 dee dum, da 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 dee dum, I lie lie dee dee da. Da 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 dee dum, da 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 dee dum, I lie lie dee dee, ay ay ay. Da 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 dee dum, da 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 dee dum, I lie lie dee dee da. Dee da 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 dee dee da dee da dum, I lie lie dee dee, ay ay ay. Da 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 dee dee my dee dee da dum, I lie lie dee dee da. Da 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 dee dee da dee dee da, ay lie dee dee, ay ay ay. Da 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 dee dee ay dee da dum, ay lie lie ho. Hey,
Nice. Before we forget, everybody knows that now are the days of counting the Omer. And Gimmel Elef is going to count the Omer with us.
that's right.
He's going to say the blessing, and everybody at home will say Amen to the blessing. And then he will say what you're going to count it in Hebrew, and then afterwards.
And then in English.
And then in English, and you'll say word for word
And we'll say the Harachaman also together.
so that you'll actually be able to count the Omer tonight. It's a big mitzvah of the Torah.
Okay, ready? Okay. Baruch Ato Adonai Eloheinu Melech Ha'olam Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzveisav v'tzivonu al sefiras ha'omer.
Amen.
Hayom
Hayom.
Tisha
Tisha.
ve'esrim
Esrei.
Yom shehem
Shehem.
arba'o
Arba.
shavuos v'yom echad la'omer. Today is 29 days.
Everybody say it. Say today is
29 days,
29 days,
which they are
which they are
4 weeks
4 weeks
and 1 day
and 1 day
of the Omer.
of the Omer.
Arachaman hu yachzir lanu avodas beis hamikdash l'mekayma b'meiri or b'yemeinu amintzela. The merciful one, may he return to us the service of the holy temple in its place immediately in our days. Amen. Selah.
Amen. And what we're doing is we're counting the days until we get the Torah. So from the second day of Pesach, we counted the first day of the Omer, and now we're up to the 29th day of the Omer, and then we're going to get up to the 49th day, and the next day will be when we get the Torah, the 50th day, which we don't count because we get the Torah that day.
That's a special day.
That's a special day. And what it's like, what we're accomplishing on the first night of Pesach, it's like we get a sack of gold coins. And then we count the coins. Today's the first day of the Omer, today's the second day, and it's a sack of 50 gold coins. Hey kids, what time is it? It's time for Gezintahait Street. And the story for tonight is about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and in a few days it's going to be the anniversary of when he passed away, and it's called his happy celebration. And the whole Omer, we don't use musical instruments because many of the sages passed away on that day, on those days. But in that day is a big day of rejoicing, and we have music and barbecues and hamburgers and the moon bounce, and everybody's happy. And we have parades. Once there was no rain. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's disciples went to him at the behest of the farmers and the townspeople. They said, ask the Rebbe, tell him we need rain. The students requested that Rabbi Shimon intervene with Hashem to nullify the decree of the drought. And he did bring rain. And how he brought the rain, he said the verse from the Psalms of King David, how good and pleasant when brothers sit together. Hine matovu menayim, shavas achim gam yachad. The sitting of brothers together symbolizes the connection of heaven and earth, which encapsulates rain. All the blessings come down from the unification of heaven and earth. And a good and perfect rain descended immediately. Now, other great sages and holy men were able to bring rain during a drought, but they brought the rain through prayer, through davening. The unique feature in our story is that Rabbi Shimon brought rain just by saying Torah, a verse from the Psalms of King David. Pretty good trick, huh, Lev?
That's a great trick, wow.
Our Rebbe asks an obvious question about this story from the Zohar. If Rabbi Shimon could bring rain immediately by saying Torah, why did he wait for the holy brotherhood of disciples to come to him first? He should have said the Torah and brought the rain for the people right away. Why did he have to wait for them to come and request it? You get the question, Gimmel Elef?
Yeah.
Good. We find that the friends of the Rashbi also taught Torah, and in the midst of those teachings, they praised Rabbi Shimon with awesome praises. And through their praises, Rabbi Shimon was raised to a higher level than his revealed level, which was wisdom, and they raised him up to the source of his soul, the level called Yechida, which corresponds in the supernal worlds to the inner level of the crown of the king, like we're going to hear probably from Gimmel Elef later tonight. And from that most recondite level, Rabbi Shimon was able to cause a new revelation of godly light to come all the way down through the chain of descent, all the way down to the physical heaven. And finally to the earth, causing a healing rain simply by saying a verse in the Torah. However, the students were necessary. He couldn't do it by himself. Because in order for Rabbi Shimon to achieve that level of elevation and be able to cause such a great descent, it is like the unification of Adam and Eve. Each has a limited creation, but together they can cause an unlimited revelation. From them come out unlimited generations. As seen in the infinite potential they brought forth by being the source of unlimited generations. And like the blessing Hashem gave the first man, which was elicited when he was given a mate, be fruitful and multiply, so too Rabbi Shimon was able to draw down infinite godly light through being elevated by his friends. the chronology of that inflow, the details of it, was first revealed through Chokhmah, through wisdom. And that is where it says in that line from the Tehillim of King David, how good. Ma tovu, hini ma tovu, how good. That's Chokhmah. And from there into Bina, how pleasant. Hine ma tovu manayim. Finally, to the unification of supernal heaven and earth, Zerapin and Malchus. Sheves Achim Gam Yachad. Is that beautifully elegant?
That is
explanation by the Rebbe. And through the unification of those supernal faces, the new flow of godliness finally reached the physical heaven and earth in the form of rain. And the dynamic that took place is called an arousal from above. Rabbi Shimon brought down the infinite light through the chain of descent, which is elicited, that arousal from above. Rabbi Shimon had to be elevated in order to cause it, and that elevation comes from an arousal from below, which is the disciples that are designated as his friends. And our service now is analogous to that dynamic. We are listening, we are down, and we're listening and elevating the higher levels. Now at a time of dark and bitter exile, our world needs rain. What do you mean rain? Physical blessings and spiritual illumination, which we accomplish by what we do from below. How can we access those blessings? By learning Torah, right, Gimmel Elef, which brings us to do mitzvahs.
That's right, that's the most important thing.
And by spreading the well springs of Torah's inner lessons, which were revealed to select individuals by the Rashbi and documented in the Zohar, like it says, with this book, we will be redeemed in mercy. So tell your friends the story of Rabbi Shimon and how he brought rain through saying a line from King David. And it's a famous song, we're going to sing it afterwards. Furthermore, the Rashbi said, with these teachings, I can redeem the whole world from negative judgment. And these very teachings were given to us, these teachings of the Rashbi were given to us by the Baal Shem Tov. That's called Chassidus. His lessons enable us to internalize and receive nurture from those lessons by comprehending their meaning. Hashem says, please go in my ways. And if you do, I'll give you rain at the right time, which includes all physical blessings. When it says rain in the Torah, it means all physical blessings. And ultimately, Hashem will reveal an arousal from above. The higher light will come down, much higher than any level that we are able to elicit through our service. And when that will happen, will be with the coming of Melech HaMashiach, the King Mashiach, and this revelation will be preceded by burning the leftover stubble of the exile, as symbolized by the fires of Lag BaOmer. And we'll all rejoice as one. It's a Jewish custom that we light a bonfire on Lag BaOmer. And the Rebbe tells us that that bonfire symbolizes the burning up of the stubble of the exile. The prophet Jeremiah says that Hashem will gather us from the north countries and the sea coasts, and a huge congregation will gather here. Behold, Hine matovu menayim, sheves achim gam yachad. Behold, how good and pleasant when brothers sit all together. Can we sing that song, Hine matovu menayim?
Yeah, which one?
Let's do the more melodic one.
Which one?
Hine matovu menayim. That one?
That one, not like the Chabad one? Like,
well, that's Chabad also.
Hine ma toivu ומנועים שבס אחים גם יוחד הנה מטה ומנועים שבס אחים גם יוחד יא 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 ים יא יא ים יא 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 yo yinanam aya ya ya yo yinanam ya 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 yo yinanam aya ya ya yo yinanam ya 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 mo yinam yinayam ya 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 mo yinam ya ya hey ya 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 yo na ma ya ya hey ya 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 yo na ma oy ne ma te o ma no yim shevesachim gam yochad hine ma te o ma no yim shevesachim gam yochad hey ya 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 ma ya 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 hey ya 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 yo yinanam hey ya 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 yo yinanam hey ya 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 yo yinanam hey ya 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 mo yinanam ay 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 yo yinam ay na ya hey ya 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 yo yinam ay na ya hey ya 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 yo yinam ma hey ya 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 mo yinam ya ya ay hine ma tovo manayim shevesachim gam yachad hine ma tovo manayim shevesachim gam yachad הנה מטוי שבסכים גם יחד הנה מטוי שבסכים גם יחד הנה מטוי ומנועים שבסכים גם יחד הנה מטוי ומנועים שבסכים גם יחד הנה מטוי שבסכים גם יחד הנה מטוי שבסכים גם יחד הנה מטוי ומנועים שבסכים גם יחד הנה טוב ומנועים שבסכים גם יחד.
All right. Beautiful. How good and pleasant when brothers sit together. Everybody should be blessed with that blessing. Plenty of rain.
Amen.
Amen.
So Gimmel Elef,
Yes,
are you ready?
I am ready.
Here's the guy with the plan.
Yes, a man with a plan. Hey, that's a song too. Chassidus does not change or add what we learned that Mordechai is thanksgiving for the return of the soul, right? Which is that's the pshat, the simple meaning of Mordechai.
We're thanking God when we wake up that He gave us our soul back, and the Chassidus is that it's a Jewish soul that we're thanking for. Is that correct, Emor?
Yes, and Chassidus doesn't change this, but it only enlightens and refines the explanation.
It doesn't change the fact that we're thanking God. It just tells you we're thanking Him because it's a Jewish soul.
Yeah,
so it doesn't
highlights
change.
it's a Jewish soul.
Doesn't change the simple.
Also, secondly, Chassidus also adds light and vitality to the hinted. That's the simple explanation. It's a great word, huh? So that's so now also to the hinted explanation of Mordechai, Chassidus adds light and vitality, which is that it hints to the Trias HaMesim, to the enlivenment in the future.
In other words, the dead people is going to wake up.
Yep, they will rise. Not only that it's not a full death when we go to sleep, because it's only 1/60th of our soul goes up.
Wait, he's saying that it's a faraway hint.
Yeah, it's not such a close hint.
Not such a close hint.
Yeah,
Why?
because when we go to sleep, we
You
don't die.
really die.
Because first of all, only a 60th goes up, but also when we get revived, it's only our soul. Our body was alive the whole time, and the 1/60th just comes back in. But in Tchias HaMesim, when all the dead people will come awake, it's also their body will be re-enlivened. But Chassidus explains that the body and the soul are really both renewed every single moment, every instant. Because Hashem is constantly recreating the world from nothing. So really we see how this makes sense, how they really line up. It's not such a foul thing, because really both our body and our soul is created anew from every moment. And this thing is something that we realize the most when we wake up.
That's why it's in the morning.
That's why we say it then.
That's when we realize it.
Creation from nothing.
And do you, Gimmel Elef, do you realize that when you get up in the morning? That Hashem is creating you and your neshama all at once?
I mean, after I have my coffee, I realize it.
Okay.
I'm with the Gimmel.
The creation from nothing can only truly be realized through the Yechidah, right? The highest level of the Bikuch.
That's the one we said that the Rabbi
But this
Shimon
is-
got raised up to from his level of
Yes.
wisdom and able to draw down the new light from the inner level of the
Yes,
godly
and this
realm.
is what Chassidus comes from.
Yeah.
It's the Yechidah. Because since the lower levels of the Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, they can only understand an existing world that it's existing in. It can't understand something higher than that world. Only Yechidah can appreciate how the worlds are really nothing, and that the only true existence is Hashem. And in order for them to exist, they must be constantly recreated anew every second. Now, the way that the drush is illuminated, right?
Drush is the homiletic.
The homiletic is illuminated and vitalized by Chassidus. Is through. So we just spoke about before. We spoke from Pardes to 4 levels. The Pshat, right? Pshat, Remez, Drush, and Soid. The simple meaning, the hinted meaning, the homiletic meaning, and the Soid is the secret meaning, the hidden meaning. So we spoke now already about the simple meaning and the hinted meaning. So now we're going to talk about the homiletic.
Let me guess what the homiletic meaning is.
What is it?
It's that the neshama is on loan.
Yes, that is the one. That is the one. We have a winner. You have just won a trip to Hawaii. Yay!
Havaya.
To Hawaii. You won a trip to Hawaii.
Hashem was in a good mood that day when he made Hawaii.
Yeah. So it's the way the drush is illuminated by Chassidus is because, like Leib just said, the law that somebody entrusted with an object that is a deposit for a loan, he has to give it back to the borrower, right? Even because
Well, he doesn't get the money.
Yeah, which means the borrower doesn't really deserve it, but since he needs it, he'll give it to him anyway. So this is that because because Hashem is trustworthy, like we say in Maida'ani, to retain the soul even though we don't deserve it. This defies logic, because the lender will then not be able to recover the money he loaned. So what was the point of this deposit? Chassidus also reveals to us that the fundamental principle of all the mitzvahs, even the ones that seem to be based on logic and reason, is Hashem's will, which transcends reason and logic. So even if we might know the reason for it, and even if we might know the logic for it, we're not doing it because of the reason and the logic. We're doing it because this is Hashem's will.
It's what Hashem wants.
Yeah. So even seemingly rational commandments have to be done in a way of accepting the yoke of the king's divine desire. Although when there is logic and rationality to a mitzvah, it is also the divine desire that we understand the rationality and observe it as well because of the logical reason. But meaning even that when we understand in the logical reason, we only understand in the logical reason because that is his desire that we understand it. So there is an apparent reason for returning the deposit. So why do we return the deposit? Even though the guy didn't pay the loan back. It is for the benefit of the depositor, because we return it. But that's the
To help him out.
That's the reason. But really, the reason we do it is because that is what Hashem wants us to do.
Very good.
This true recognition of the unembodied divine will can come only from the Yechidah. The connection of the lower levels of Naranch, the Nefesh, Ruach,
Naranch Chaya.
Neshama, Chaya. No, not only the Naranch, because it doesn't have the Yechidah yet. With the Yechidah, which makes it Naranch Chaya, the connection
Also,
of
Naran Ach.
Naran Ach
Yeah.
to Hashem is the connection of these lower levels to Hashem is constrained to particular forms, so that the comprehension of the divine will is limited to the divine will being embodied in that specific form. Right? So in other words, the Pardes has a specific soul, the Pshat has a specific way, a form, and it can only understand in that way of Pshat. And each one has its own form, and it stays in that form. However, the Yechidah, the true recognition of the unembodied divine will, can only come from the Yechidah, the level which is higher than all of them, because the connection of the lower levels to Hashem, they are only have a specific way, but the Yechidah has no form and desire. All these other ways, they have their own form, and because they have a form, they are constrained to that form. But the Yechidah that has no form and desire,
abstract point.
yeah, it's formless. It can comprehend all the true essence and simplicity of the supernal will, that is the only divine. That is only the divine desire itself without any reason or explanation at all, but it can connect to this fact that this is Hashem's will. Now in Kabbalah, right? Kabbalah, now we're going into the secret meaning, right? The secret meaning. Living and eternal king represents the sphere of Malchus, right? Which is the kingship. The level from which the soul is restored, the way it is united with the sphere of Yesod.
The way Malchus is united with Yesod. That's how the soul comes down through Malchus. Without being connected to Yesod, the soul won't come down.
It won't come down.
That's what he's saying?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, because the Yesod is the masculine level, and the Malchus is the feminine level, and like we know that without without a male and a female, there cannot be born a new being.
That's what we said in the story.
Yeah, see, it all connects.
Adam and Chava together can make unlimited generation.
But it needs both of them.
Needs both of them.
Yeah, so the same thing, Yesod, which is the masculine attribute, and Malchus, which is the feminine attribute, it's only by their coming together, by the unity of those two things, that can come out, they can back the soul to us. Chassidus highlights the idea so that it lives in a different way.
We're going to get the Chassidic explanation now, what it means, Yesod is connected to Malchus.
Yeah, so what does this mean? That Chassidus explains that the Malchus is the level of divinity that is related to the world, and therefore it is the boundaries of time and space come from Malchus. Yesod, on the other hand, is an aspect of divinity that is above the realm of any relation to the world. In all divine attributes higher than the Malchus, than the kingship, the limitations of space and time don't exist. They only exist in Malchus because Malchus has a relation to the world. Time and space are completely nullified as a result of the Yesod, because the Yesod is from higher than time and space. However, when Yesod is united with Malchus, there is a revelation of the Ein Sof, of the infinite light of Hashem, which transcends the worlds, this is the godliness which is delivered through Yesod, within the godliness that is in the world of Malchus, that is invested in the world of Malchus. So there comes a revelation from the Yesod into the Malchus.
Because that infinite light is higher than both of them. Therefore, it could unite both.
Unite them,
these two opposites.
These opposite things. This is what is meant by living an eternal king. That the restoration of the soul is a new creation every instant. and the creation of something from nothing is actualized through Malchus. However, in order for Malchus to create a yesh me'ayin, a something from nothing, there must be a manifestation of the essence of the infinite light, because it's higher than both of them. That the Ein Sof, the infinite light, comes from into Malchus from the
Through
Sof.
yourself. Good.
Now, since the essence of the infinite light,
Did you know that already, Gimmel Elef?
well, not
Were
so
you
good.
hip to that?
Yes, I was a little bit hip to that, but now I'm hipper.
Good.
So since the essence of the infinite light transcends both the something and the nothing, it has the power to transform nothing into something. Now, this is not true of Malchus itself. Because Malchus itself, which, like we said before, has a relation to the worlds, it's not infinite, right? Because it has space and time. So in order for Malchus to create something from nothing, it must connect to the essence of the infinite light by being connected to the Yesod, which is higher than space and time. Through the level of Yechida, a person can recognize that creation from nothing to something comes from the essence of Hashem. Because since Yechida itself is transcendent, it can also recognize that which is transcendent, meaning the essence of the infinite one, which alone makes something from nothing. Now, there are two parts of this, there are two concepts within this. One is the apprehension of the Ein Sof is only possible through the level of soul, of Yechida, which is united with Hashem's essence, right? Because like we said before, to recognize the essence, you have to be able to be yourself transcendent. And two is the true recognition of the meaning of creation from nothing to something, is that one should deeply realize that there is no possibility for independent existence outside of Hashem. Should we have a niggin later?
Oh, sure.
What's a good niggin? Something happy.
You can throw it out there.
Okay, and let's see. Ya la da da, ya la da da, ya ya da da da, my la da da, my la da da, ay ho, ya la da da, ay la da da, my da da, ay la da da, my yo, hey ya didi my didi my didi my didi my didi my ya, hey ya didi my didi my didi my didi ya. Hey ya didi my didi my didi my didi ya ay ya didi my didi my didi my didi ya ay ho hey ya didi la dam ay ya didi la dam ay didi ya didi dam ay ho hey ya didi la dam ay didi la dam ay didi ya my didi dam hey ya didi my didi my didi my didi my didi my ya ay didi my didi my didi my didi ya hey ya didi my didi my didi my didi ya ay didi my didi my didi my didi ya ay ho hey ya didi la dam ay didi la dam ay didi ya didi dam ay ho hey ya didi la dam ay didi la dam ay didi ya didi dam hey ya didi my didi my didi my didi my didi my ya ay didi my didi my didi my didi dam hey ya didi my didi my didi my didi ya ay didi my didi my didi my la da dam hoy. That's okay.
All right.
So now, to focusing on how Chassidus explains this side, the Kabbalah, the secret meaning of Moida'ani, which emphasizes that creation from nothing is done by the infinite through the sphere of Malchus, all four explanations of Moida Ani can now be connected. Remez, the hinted explanation, that if the creation of something from nothing by the infinite is through the sphere of Malchus alone, it could only serve to infuse the body with life, a soul, but not cause the body to exist. So through realizing that creation is from the infinite, it has no independent existence and must be newly created from nothing continually, meaning both the soul and the body. Therefore, one realizes that there is really nothing else besides Hashem. He is continually bringing existence into being. So we can't even say there is Hashem and a secondary thing called creation, but rather it's all just Hashem. The only existence is the connection to divinity. As we pointed out in the simple explanation, the pshat of Moida Ani, so now we bring this in to connect it, that we thank him for the return of our Jewish soul. Since there is nothing besides for him, it is obvious that the reason for doing the commandments is that they are the will of Hashem, and for no other side reason. Like in the Drush explanation of Moida Ani, like in the, what's it called, the Drush? While Yechida is the essence of the other levels of Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, it does not negate those particular levels. Every one of the four levels of Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, right? And of course, that means all the levels of Pardes, the simple, the hinted, the Hamalatic, and the secret, right? Is meaning that the Chassidus, meaning the Yechida, does not negate them. Every other level is specific.
If I could give an example of that.
Oh, great.
It says everything is God. There's nothing outside of God. On the other hand, we know it says in the beginning of the Torah, in the beginning, God created the heaven and earth. So what do you mean there's only God? If he created the heaven and earth, there's a heaven and earth. The same way, even though Yechida is the general abstract point of the soul without any specific form, all the forms do exist because that's the will of Hashem that they exist, even though they are all included in him. Does that help a lot?
That helps a lot.
Good.
That's a good explanation, Bitzalel. Now, every level is specific, the lower levels, and anything that doesn't fall in its category is not part of it. It can only deal with its category. Nevertheless, the essence, Yechida, is the underlying principle of each detail. Because the essence, the Yechida, is all-encompassing, but it doesn't negate the existence of the particulars. So there is nothing besides Hashem in it milvadoi. That doesn't mean that the worlds don't exist. Rather, they are completely united with the Ein Sof, with the infinite one. So we can understand by this the relationship between the Chassidus and the Pardes explanations, the other four types of explanations, with Moida Ani. Because Soid Kabbalah, the Chassidus explains in Moida Ani, explains how Malchus and Yesod, the two opposites, are united as one. Melech Chai V'Kayim, a living and eternal king. That the uniting factor is their essence, the Yechida. So that's the level
which is higher than both.
Yeah. Now, on the level of Drush, the homiletic interpretation of Chassidus makes clear that what Hashem commands must be done, not because it makes sense, but because it's what Hashem wants, highlighting the fact that all existence is only from Hashem. So again, we see that the Chassidic explanation does not negate the explanation, the homiletic explanation. The Chassidus of the hinted interpretation, waking from the sleep hints to the awakening from the dead, Priyas HaMesim, by pointing out that even the part of creation that appears separate from Hashem is also being recreated every moment from Hashem's essence. So too every morning we can realize we are actually recreated anew, just like the original creation of the world. Again, we see that this does not negate the hinted meaning. Now, going down to the simple explanation that Maida Ani, through the light of Chassidus, reveals that even the simple thanks of a Jew shows how his entire being is that he's a Yid, he's a Jew, he's connected with Hashem. And you guessed it, once again we see that the Chassidic explanation does not negate the particular explanation, but rather only enlightens it and unites them. We can now understand the voids of our Rebbes and leaders when they said that certain particular qualities of Chassidus constituted the essential idea of Chassidus. Although we said that specific qualities are only ramifications of Chassidus, nevertheless, through them alone its nature is expressed. The indication of essence is that it penetrates and pervades and is found in all of the smallest details. For example, and your arm is not your face. Your arm is your arm, and your face is your face, but your essence includes your arm and your face. And it does not negate the arm from being an arm, and it does not negate the face from being a face. Now, as in...
Try eating with your arm.
The nose,
Try eating your arm.
the nose and the toes are equally alive.
And the nose knows about the toes, and the toes knows about the nose. And the reason you know is when you stub the toes, your nose knows. As it is known that the beginning is wedged specifically in the end, so the further Chassidus is extended and diffused into the lowest level, even to transform the nature of the animal soul in the physical world. So the essence of Chassidus is more clearly expressed. And this is why the Friedrich Rebbe, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he stressed in so many of his talks that every idea that we learn in Chassidus must be carried out in action. It must be done in action, because only through an actual deed can the essential nature of Chassidus manifest. Now the unification with Ein Sof in Torah, particularly in Chassidus, extends and transforms the lowest levels. Hashem says, I created the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, and Torah as spices for it. Of all the worlds, this material world is the very lowest. And within this lowly world of physical matter, the lowest thing even in this world is the impulse of evil which Hashem regrets creating. Bitzalel, that's a funny thing to say, that Hashem regrets creating something.
Hey, where's our buddy?
Not only that, Marvin might be embarrassed.
Bitzalel, one thing I can tell you, I've never yet seen Marvin to be embarrassed. He's been called many things, but embarrassed is one.
But do you think he knows that Hashem regrets creating him?
Let's ask him.
Oh boy.
Hey, Marvin.
Hey, my old friend.
Marvin, did you know that the Torah is a spice to make you tasty?
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that soon. But first, for the elephant in the room, Bitzalel.
Well,
If Hashem regrets making me, then why did He make me?
so that you can become a beautiful sweet Marvin and not a troublemaker.
I don't know how much fun that sounds like.
That'll be fun. Well, check out Lag BaOmer.
Wow, can like I still be wild and like
You can
have a barbecue and stuff?
Yeah, it's called the Lights of Toho and the Kalim and Tikkum.
Oh wow!
Sign up with us, Marvin. It'll be good and you'll have fun. Why do you have to work for the king making trouble when you can work for the king having fun?
Yeah, well, the only reason I do that is because that's what he told me to do.
Yeah, that's what he told you.
He's following
And
the will of Hashem.
Marvin, when did you ever do what you were told? All of a sudden, you're such a good boy. You're doing what you're told.
So anyways, Bitzalel, so what we're saying is that I am a regrettable being. Bitzalel, I don't think anyone has ever said anything that nice to me. Thank you, Bitzalel. That's wonderful. It's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
Bye, Marvin.
See you, Marvin.
There we go.
Oh,
Well, you heard it from the mouth of the Marvin himself.
oh, it's you again.
Now you. Okay, so now, of all the worlds, so this world is the lowest, and evil inclination is the lowest thing in it. But the Torah is completely higher and incomparable to the world. So how can a Torah that's so high be a spice for the evil inclination, which is the lowest of low? Torah spicing and transforming the Yetzer Hara comes from the essence of Hashem. While even the highest level of light and revelation is still limited to itself, but no more. Right? Like we said, that in all the levels besides Yechidah, no matter how high the form is, it is only limited to its own form.
Light could destroy the bad, but it can't change it over. That's the bottom line.
Right. The light can't change the Marvin.
It could destroy Marvin.
Yeah, that it could do. I mean, not that Marvin needs much help at that.
But it can't change Marvin over. Only Marvin can change
Only
Marvin.
Marvin can change Marvin. So it can transform the bad, it can only destroy it. The essence of Torah, that it is united with the essence of Hashem, is expressed precisely in the fact that it is a spice for the evil inclination. Because the power to spice the evil inclination, and moreover to transform it from good, this can only come from the essence of Hashem. Wow, Marvin's a special guy, huh?
Yeah.
He's the guy who gets before he gets
Hey, how many guys come on Gezintahait Street after all?
Yeah, this is true.
Slow roasted and spiced.
That's a spicy Marvin ball. Elef, how about a niggin?
Go ahead, rolling on.
Okay, let's see.
Not too wacky.
No, I will try to keep it. I have one.
Okay.
Hey, ya mama, mo ya na mama, mo ya mama. Am, 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 am Alarayo Yinam
We're going to have the sign-off, nigga, but before we do, just a fast story that the Rebbe heard. When the Rebbe arrived in America, the previous Rebbe announced, the sooner we return to Hashem, the sooner will be the redemption. Someone mentioned to the Rebbe a conversation he heard between two non-Lubavitchers. One asked his friend, what are these Lubavitcher Chassidim? His friend said, they're very strange creatures. They really believe Mashiach can come tomorrow. And we believe Mashiach can come tomorrow if he didn't come yesterday and we didn't notice it yet. Sign off, nigga?
Ready? Gezintahait, Gezintahait, Gezintahait.
Remember, kids, Gezintahait.
Gezintahait. Bam, bam, wow, 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 wow.